Humans are omnivores. This means we were built to consume both vegetation and meat. It's a categorization we share with animals such as bears, raccoons, chimpanzees, and rats. This adaptive diet helps spread our species throughout the globe. But when you think of early man, you're likely picturing this: a hunter. It's hard to pinpoint when our obsession with meat began. There's plenty of reasons why humans are programmed to eat meat, but fast forward to the year 2020 and one thing is perfectly clear. Right now, in North America, we are eating way too much. We begin this story with a hamburger, or, to be more specific, a hamburger patty. At a typical fast food restaurant, it will likely cost you a few dollars. Good deal, right? But while consumers might not be paying much, it's costing the environment a lot. In the US alone, annual meat consumption is 3 times the global average. North American meat consumption has gone from 2.2 ounces per person per day in 1960 to almost 10 ounces in 2018. That's practically double the USDA recommended average. There are plenty of reasons why we eat so much meat. The popularity of fast food, the cultural identity associated with meat in America, like hot dogs at baseball games or barbecuing on the 4th of July, and factory farms keeping meat plentiful and most importantly cheap, all contribute to a growing appetite. However, as North America continues to export our dietary habits across the planet, meat eating globally will also rise. And while the planet already struggles to keep up with our insatiable appetites, increasing demand may push our home past the point of no return. Back to our hamburger. It takes approximately 55 liters of water to make a single quarter-pound patty. As climate change threatens many of our freshwater reserves, recent estimates suggest that farming uses 70% of global water and 92% of our freshwater. 1/3 of this belongs to animal products. Industrial farming techniques are also threatening our current water supplies through a process called eutrophication, where runoffs of byproducts such as animal feces and leftover feed cause excessive algae and plant growth, depriving water-dwelling creatures of oxygen, and through the use of pesticides and the appearance of antibiotics in our water supply. This burger also took approximately 13.5 pounds of feed to produce. Displayed is the feed conversion ratio to produce 4 of the most popular types of meat. You can see that 27 pounds of feed is needed to make 1 pound of beef, 16 pounds is needed for the same amount of lamb or mutton, 7 pounds for pork, and around 3.6 pounds for poultry. Of course, most of what we currently feed animals is unsuitable for human consumption, but it has been estimated that if we convert 40% of crops currently used for animal feed to vegetation suitable for humans, enough cropland currently exists globally to feed 9 billion people. This burger produced 0.126 pounds of methane, which means approximately 4 pounds of greenhouse gas per quarter pound of beef. That might not sound like a lot, but consider that the livestock sector, raising cows, pigs, and chickens, generates as much greenhouse gas emissions as all cars, trucks, and automobiles combined. Currently, livestock and aquaculture contribute 56 to 58% of the world's food emissions, despite providing 37% of global protein consumption and 18% of global calories. This single patty also needed 64.5 square feet of land to make. 70% of the world's current deforestation is a result of clearing to grow animal feed. In 2019, the world was horrified to watch uncontrollable fires break out across the Amazon rainforest. A staggering 121,000 fires were recorded in Brazil that year, and that number is only expected to grow in 2020. Many of these fires were deliberately set by cattle ranchers to clear for more grazing pastures. Cattle ranching now accounts for 80% of Brazil's deforestation rates. While this issue is multifaceted, the rising global demand for meat continues to incentivize this behavior. The loss of land is also threatening biodiversity. Humans and livestock bred for consumption currently constitute 96% of carbon mass on Earth. As more land is cleared to grow animal feed, habitats shrink and put further pressure on already vulnerable species, particularly when combined with other risk factors caused by intensive meat production such as pollution and GHG emissions. According to a study in 2019, at least 200 species of large animals are decreasing in number, and more than 150 are under threat of extinction, primarily because of increasing meat consumption by humans. Currently, we are in the middle of a COVID-19 pandemic that stretches worldwide. While researchers are still trying to identify the origins of this disease, a UN environmental report written in 2016 identified that livestock often serves as an epidemiological bridge between wildlife and humans. The potential of this occurrence is increased dramatically when livestock are confined to small spaces in close proximity to each other, such as in factory farming. It is generally agreed by public health experts that changing the way we farm and consume animals will be necessary to prevent future outbreaks. This means smaller-scale farming and eating local, two things that can only be accomplished if our current demand for meat lowers. So, by now you're probably wondering, what can I do to change things? The UN's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change has suggested that if the world's population reduces their meat consumption and shifts towards plant-based options, it would significantly increase the planet's ability to fight climate change and increase food security globally. But this doesn't mean that everyone in North America needs to immediately become a vegan. If the average American cut just a quarter pound of beef a week from their diet, it would be the equivalent of taking 10 million cars off the road for a year. While a report in 2018 suggested that here in North America, our consumption of beef will need to drop by 90% to stave off dangerous climate change, it's okay to start small. Diet is a complex issue with deep cultural and sociological meaning, so don't expect to be able to change overnight. But by cutting meat from your diet for one day a week, such as Meatless Mondays, or from one meal a day, maybe try a smoothie instead of bacon in the morning, or simply reducing your portion sizes to the recommended 4 ounces, you can make a real difference. Climate change affects everyone, and if we want to continue feeding our growing human population in a way that is both healthy and sustainable, we need to think deeply about how and why we eat the way we do. So next time you have a craving for a hamburger, remember the cost is more than just dollars and cents. Before you go, I'd like to point out that a lot of these figures come from industrial farming practices. Smaller local farms have less of an impact, and the use of different farming techniques strives to make our food supply chain more sustainable. But these farms cannot meet current demand, and without a drastic drop in our meat consumption, the harmful impacts of our cultural obsession with meat will continue to grow. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and check out some of the links below if you'd like to learn more.